Hi, Shell.
And hello to all you other wonderful weirdos watching.
Okay, so it's been a few weeks since I've seen this one thing that set off a one of those tangents that you get in your head where you just think about it for so long and you're just waiting for the response to. But quite frankly, I saw a post from Carl from Please Read Your Book. I got I saw a post by him with some reading hot take. Weirdly enough, I don't get shown all the posts I kind of want to be shown. Unfortunately, YouTube does not recommend me that many posts, but it's fine. It did show me this one though, and this post in particular I wanted to respond to. I actually did my usual thing of typing the whole thing out, reading it through, editing it about, rewording some things, and then reading it through again, getting in my head, deleting the whole thing, and here I am later. My anxiety came back and I don't think I've actually posted on anybody's thing in a while. I suppose my quick update on my anxiety, it's been quite nice, and I've been able to hit the reply, responding to people on my videos is easier. It's still nerve-wracking, but it's easier. I've had 2 experiments where I would just pick 2 channels, and I kind of, my theory was, because they're bigger channels, they're not going to see my post, I would just be like drowned out. No. Yeah, no. Which is, but it was nice. It was both of those content creators chatted back to me. It helped the anxiety subside, but it's now back again. Yippee. I've just realised I haven't commented in about a week on, or maybe 2, on any of their stuff, because it does seem that I can't consistently feel like I can put my own voice forward, even if it is a tiny comment. I got better. I mean, yeah, there's going to be setbacks, but I'm actually not feeling that this is a setback. It's just like, oh, I haven't actually commented. Never mind. But yeah, my comment section is pretty small in comparison, mainly because, I feel it more in my comment section because I have a small audience. I'm actually surprised I have an audience to begin with, but hey ho. But this one particular post, this one hot take did stick with me, and so Carl from Please Read Your Book, his hot take is that reading slumps aren't real. And I literally just got out of a reading slump when I saw that. And I'm just like, what? No. But he does explain in that post why he thinks that it's to do with your curiosity, that your brain is bored with what you're doing right now, and that you just need your curiosity. Basically, it's just put that thing down, pick another thing up, and keep going. I did just see a video about something, I can't remember, but it was just like another little book ramble. I watch a lot of book videos in one day. It's quite yeah. I can't remember where things are coming from now. But there was an idea put forward that reading slumps are in fact just your brain, it's wanting some rest. And so this idea of putting a name slump has a negative connotation to it, and I do agree. But I did come out of a reading slump, and I thought I should. I kind of want to talk about what a reading slump means to me, and if I am distracted, it's because it's very windy and I've got my laundry out. I don't want it to blow away. Oh dear. So, as I mentioned, I just got out of a reading slump that spanned, I'm not going to lie, more months than I care to admit. And there is only one book involved, and quite frankly, it's kind of embarrassing to admit, but considering I enjoyed it, I kept reading it because it was a good story, and it's more to the point where if you were given this book, you would probably read it way quicker than me. I mean, naturally, because I'm dyslexic and I require more time to read something than the average person. But even then, I normally get through books this size a bit quicker. Hell, I've even gotten into the middle of a book that's just that bit bigger in about a very small fraction of the time it's taken me to read this one particular book. And it's not the fault of the author. I think it's the fault of the writing style doesn't gel with my dyslexia, on top of the font. And everybody who's familiar with my channel immediately knows what it is. It is Kayla Gwain's Worlds of Exile and Illusion, which contains Rakannon's World, Planet of Exile, and City of Illusion. This book put me in a reading slump because I was trying to get through it before properly starting a different reading challenge. And that is basically, well, the main reason. The font is absolutely nightmarish for me. The dyslexia in my brain just did not want to work. It did not want to work, and this book murdered my concentration. It murdered my just my longing and my want to read. And as a dyslexic, the want to read is not actually there. As a child, I remember my mum saying that I was always a reader. I have never been a reader for as long as she thinks I have. I started properly reading in year 7, and even then it was like barely. But before that, it was people forcing me to read and me pretending to read because I thought that was what I had to do. And I thought, I'm going to pretend to read because I just can't with the text. As a dyslexic, reading is a nightmare because of the mental gymnastics I've got to go around. The blurring together of certain letters occasionally. No 2 days are the same, annoyingly. No 2 days are the same. My goodness. Put that down again. With my dyslexia, this is the number one cause of my reading slumps. And it's mainly because my brain cannot work out. My brain is like, it's like sandpaper on the brain sometimes. That's what it feels like. You're probably wondering why I bother to read. I like reading. It's like climbing Everest when you don't leave the house for months on end. And I experienced just this week and last week reading my short stories for my Short Story Saturday, the same thing happening where I would read the same paragraph over and over again because my comprehension wasn't working. So, as much as I do enjoy the act of reading, I hate the act of reading because the brain decides to have a hissy fit. I do enjoy the story. I do enjoy the writing. I enjoy the beautiful descriptions when my brain will allow me to, or when my brain is comprehending them. And having to deal with a very difficult book that I was enjoying Ursula K. Le Guin, I swear. Sometimes the writing style does take a while for my brain to finally jive with and flow, but it did hit me into a reading slump because I wanted to finish it, and I was 80 pages from the end of this book, and it hit the new year and I couldn't count it towards my books read last year because I was like 80 pages from the end and I cannot get through that. And so when I say reading slumps are real, sometimes my brain doesn't want to read. Sometimes you just don't feel physically like doing that thing. Sometimes you got to force yourself. I've even been told, don't force yourself. And I'm just like, if I don't do that, I'm not going to. And I will never read again. Which is a shame. But I also enjoy the end result. I hated running when I first started. It was absolutely nightmarish. After 10 seconds, I would be out of breath. But I did the Couch to 5K with a friend who was actually a runner. So I actually got help from somebody who could run to run with me and keep an eye on the time, keep an eye on all of this, that, and the other. But I enjoyed running after a few years later. And I was able to play with my niece in the park, run around like a headless chicken, and I was the last person to get tired. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that I didn't get out of breath whatsoever. It was brilliant. And I even enjoyed the act of running when I still haven't got back into it though. It's just one of those things where time escapes you. But again, I'm planning on wanting to get back into it because I enjoyed it. And I like the benefits that came with it. It's the same with reading. I enjoy it eventually. And what I did to get out of that slump was to read the first chapter of every book on my top shelf. And I enjoyed it. I got back into it just because I was able to dive in just briefly. I mean, yeah, Carl was right about the curiosity thing. I was able to spark my curiosity again. But it's also, you see these shelves behind me? Not a single one of these is red. This is my TBR. It goes a few more shelves above there. And there's also behind the chair. I have a lot of books that I have not read, and it's quite intimidating. And what my brain does is it looks at that and goes, look at all the work you've got to do. And that is just one hell of a dyslexic flaw. But when I read the first chapter of every book on one shelf, I was able to figure out where to start. Because I don't know where to start on half of these. And it's when I see a paragraph, my brain hates it. I'm just like, oh, that's a lot of words. I mean, I feel like that one girl that was complaining about all the words on the page and everybody was jumping on her. But part of me as a dyslexic was like, yep, that's literally what my brain is doing to me. Complaining about how many words are on a page. But it is unfortunate because that's unfortunately what my brain is doing to me every single time I want to pick up a book, and my brain is just like, oh, words on page. And then I've got to punch my dyslexia in the face, metaphorically speaking. I have no idea where this is going. I should have maybe bullet pointed some things so I can at least stay on track, because I don't know if I'm talking about a reading slump anymore, but it is a big cause of my reading slumps. When my dyslexia says I can read, because I remember at work there was this sheet of paper that I have to read from beginning to end, part of my training, or constant training where they've got a refresher training, and I got to the bottom of the page, the last paragraph, with no issue, and then the last paragraph, my brain decided to stop comprehending. Actually, it wasn't comprehending, it was stop working. I couldn't get the gears going again. It might have just been that there were people in the office talking or what, and the distractions finally got to me. So I was just like to the person next to me going, could you please just read that paragraph for me? I just can't. It stopped. It is mental gymnastics. It is mental gymnastics, and I hate it. And yeah. And sometimes what I have to do is have a bloody nap. I have to give my brain a lot of rest. But the trouble with that is I rest so freaking much. And I'm resting because I work 40 hours a week at the minute, and I rest because my brain can't function on that. My brain on 40 hours a week, at the end of that week, do I want to pick up a book at the end of a work day? Not really. My brain is shutting down. So I am trying to force myself to wake up, because I wake up really early just so I've got a few hours before work and I get a bit of time to myself that I'm not shutting down. I'm starting the day. I've got to try and squeeze in my reading then, because I'm reading in my break at work will come with challenges. Like most often is when I'm not breaking by myself and the other person's feeling very chatty. I mean, yeah, I will always like chat to my colleagues over my book, but that's just how I am. I like to chat to people, but also I think, what was it? The other day, my brain stopped functioning. My eyes were just like, I kept nodding off with my book. I just kept nodding off. I have bought reading glasses. Oh, I bought a few more reading glasses. So I've got a pair in my bag, I've got a pair at work, and I've got a pair here. Just because my eyes are the first to go currently, because I'm out of the slump and my brain is like easier to slip into a book right now, but my eyes are currently the first thing to go. And when my eyes go, I need a nap. It's like reading hurdles create slumps as well. So I was able to quickly get through the beginning half of a book, short, but now I've slowed down again, and it's nothing to do with being in a slump, but more like time management, really. Because I've got X, Y, and Z outside of work to do. And a lot of it can just be a stress-related slump. I know I can't read right now because I have to do all this other stuff. And it's technically not a reading slump because I just need a rest from that, but that's not going to work. Reading is not going to work. So I think last week I just spent the entire day playing Animal Crossing and terraforming my island, and it was perfectly fine. Sometimes you just need a day where you do nothing to do with anything, and you just there for yourself to rest through. And that can be considered a reading slump because your brain needs a different type of rest. People read to rest. I don't. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I can get away with it, where my dyslexia allows it. Another thing could be I have 2 short stories that I'm struggling with and I need a break from. But the other short story I am absolutely adoring, and I'm getting through that, and I'm actually itching to get to again. But yikes, does it take a while? I don't experience reading slumps in the same way, just because nobody experiences the same reading slump as another. And if you do, then it's still slightly different. Mainly because not 2 people are the same, no experience is the same. My reading slumps are mainly caused by dyslexia. And despite enjoying a story, the font and writing style can be a challenge for my dyslexia, and my dyslexia will just be like, you don't want to read, you don't want to read that, you really don't want to read that, you don't want to pick that up, that's going to be too hard. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to read a hard book. Not after an 8-hour shift in retail. You just want to relax, shut your brain down, and do something other than read. And that's perfectly fine. I just try and find my way around it. It's not the best, but it also means I'm not able to figure out what I want to do with video ideas, because a lot of the content I see is like weekly wrap-ups or monthly wrap-ups, quarterly wrap-ups, and they've got like so many books, and I've only got 2 books that I finished this year. I am in the middle of 5. Now 6, actually. I started an audiobook yesterday. And that's totally fine, because sometimes you just need to figure out what you need in the moment, and I'm realizing I haven't picked up an audiobook in so long. I need an audiobook currently, because otherwise, yeah, I do need to recognize audio is going to save me. Audiobooks are going to be how I get out of slumps in the future. That and easy to read, because I think 6 of Crows is young adult. Yeah, I think it's young adult. And it's just, even though the writing style is still pretty beautiful and really interesting how Leigh Bardugo is describing everything, it's still incredibly accessible in comparison to Ursula K. Le Guin. Not gonna lie. I feel like I need accessibility. And not recognizing that, it has created a slump, unfortunately. So now that I've been out of the slump, I know I'm not in a slump right now, because unfortunately I was watching Pat do her weekly wrap-up over on Book Chat with Pat. Absolutely love her video, I love her channel. But I couldn't pay attention to the last weekly wrap-up, and I felt bad, because I was just like, right, I'm raring to go, I'm going to try and comment this time, but I couldn't actually pay attention. So if I can't pay attention, what am I going to comment about? But the reason why I couldn't pay attention is because I want to read. I've never had such an itch to read distract me that much. But yeah, it happened, unfortunately. And so I know I'm not in a reading slump, and sometimes finding new ways of getting out of reading slumps, I mean, for me, discovering that if I read the first chapter of a lot of books, that is gonna definitely get me out of a reading slump, because I'm reading something new. I'm seeing if I've bought the right book. I've already found a DNF. I've already found a book that I'm going to unhaul, and I'm finding the different stories to start, and I'm figuring out what I want right now. And just that in itself really saved my ass on my reading slump, because I just got out of City of Illusion and I did enjoy it. I just needed something to pull me out, and every single book I read, bar one, was really interesting, and I wanted to read them all at once. Because that's the other thing that creates a reading slump to me, is I have a lot of books, like I have said, it's just too much that I have not read, and they are all calling my name at the same time, and I just want to read them, and I don't have a starting point. And I'm so impatient. I just want to be through a book. I want to be in The Witcher. I want to be reading Shannara. I want to be reading everything, but because I'm such a slow reader, I have to be okay with what I'm at right now. I'm reading Six of Crows, loving the Grishaverse right now, but I also want to be over here. I want to be on the Discworld again. I mean, I could technically be on the Discworld again because I usually use an audiobook whilst I'm reading, but at the same time, I also realise having 6 books on the go is also causing a slump in itself. Which is very weird to say, but I have a lot on the go. They are for different reasons on the go, and it's for my moods. Sometimes I'm wanting the sci-fi, sometimes I want the fantasy, sometimes I need to get through my short story Saturday. So, and then I've just discovered that I can listen to half an hour of an audiobook walking to work. But anyways, that was just this random ramble of just my thoughts on reading slumps. Does anybody have any tips of getting out of a reading slump? Do you even believe in reading slumps like Carl doesn't? I also agree that we've just put a word to it that has a negative connotation, when sometimes you just need to let your brain sleep and wait for it. Sometimes gaming helps. Sometimes painting helps. I'm actually doing something creative this afternoon, and I'll probably listen to an audiobook that I'm in right now. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on reading slumps and how I get stuck in them, and why my dyslexia is a bitch sometimes. Yeah. This has been eating away at my brain for a little while, and yeah, I thought maybe somebody has any similar experiences with slumps, or any other tips to get out of slumps. I don't know. I don't have any tips myself. It's more of a get to know your own brain and your own habits and your own patterns, and figuring out what works best for you yourself. I mean, the first chapter of 9 books was actually quite useful for me, but it's fine. I'm also very impatient for wanting to get to the rest of those 9 books, though. Bye, Shell.
And bye to all the other wonderful weirdos reading.